Hi everyone, I thought it was about time I checked in again because you haven't heard from me for at least 2 to 3 weeks after all the, building up to my book launch and receiving my book and things like that. So it's still been a whirlwind 2 to 3 weeks post book launch here in Tauranga, which went amazingly well. Oh my goodness, I was absolutely blown away by how well it went. It was perfect in every way. It was exactly what I hoped it would be, and we had a wonderful turnout. Everybody loved it, and I was really privileged to have a special guest speaker, apart from myself, on the night, which was Denise Arnold from the Cambodia Charitable Trust. And helping sponsor children in developing countries is something that's very dear to my heart after my own journey with Yogi and Ari and the children over there in Bali. And so I wanted Denise to come along and share her journey with starting up the Cambodia Charitable Trust. And we had raffles on the night. I had very generous people who had donated goods and vouchers, and it was my mission on the night. There was 44 of us, and it was my mission that we raised enough money to sponsor one child in Cambodia, which is $720 for 1 year. Well, not only did we surpass that, we ended up with $850 worth of donations through, raffle tickets and donations. And so that absolutely made my night. So as a group, we have been able to sponsor a child for their education over in Cambodia for 12 months. Plus there was enough left over to pay for a teacher pack and also a school pack. So things that we take for granted here in New Zealand or in the Western world, like pens and pencils and paper and scissors and things like that. These kids for the classroom can now receive all those things. So it's changes lives. Education for these kids absolutely changes lives, and I've seen that personally myself. So if you would like to make a difference in someone else's life, to those that are not as privileged as we are in the Western world, because let's face it, we are privileged here in New Zealand, then please check out the Cambodia Charitable Trust, which is cctnz.org.nz. And I know for a fact that these guys, 100% of the money goes to the kids in Cambodia. They all work voluntarily. There are no administration costs and directors' fees and things like that, unlike a lot of other organisations out there. So please check them out online. And yeah, like I say, it has been an absolute whirlwind 2 to 3 weeks after the physical book launch. Of course, then I've had books to post out. I've been battling to get my book uploaded onto Amazon, to get the author copy, because I don't know how it prints from over there. So that is now finally winging its way to me, so I can check it physically before I allow it to be publicly available. And I have uploaded the ebook to Amazon. It's not quite live yet. I will let everybody know when that happens. All these things take time. And then I've also now got to upload it all to Ingram Spark, who have a much wider distribution for bookstores and libraries and things like that. So it's not like the book's now launched and it's out there. There's still a lot of work to do afterwards, and the light is at the end of the tunnel. I'm very much looking forward to my holiday, which is coming up in less than 2 weeks. But it was the perfect time to do this book launch before I go away, even though it was being crazy busy and hugely stressful. But it's nice to have it done and all tidied up, and then I can go off and enjoy my holiday and maybe start working on the second book, because yes, there is a sequel, and I have actually started it. Now, I'm not going to put any timeline on myself while I'm away, because I really do need the rest. But, if I feel inspired to write, then I'm going to be in the perfect place to do that. And I will also be checking in quite regularly and showcasing some of the places in Silent Warrior, because I will be there in Bali. and also to give you a sneak preview of places that I am intending to hold writing retreats next year, 2024, over in Bali and Vietnam. So if you have always wanted to write a book, or you've been told you should write a book, then basically just start. Like literally just start. Try and not get overwhelmed. Try and not even think that no one wants to read my book, or that you have to put it out there in the big wide world. First and foremost, write for you. So you always write what they call a shitty first draft, and it's really just getting your thoughts and feelings down on paper. And that's the biggest hurdle you can overcome, is actually starting. And once you get started, you'll be quite amazed at how quickly things will flow, even if it's just writing down what moments in your life you actually think you want to write about. So how I approached mine was I wrote down, I knew the timeline that I wanted to write about. And so I wrote down each year, and then I, racked my brain for what were the major things that happened in those years. Now, you're not going to write about everything because you can't, or you can, but it's not going to end up in the finished book because otherwise you would end up with, Encyclopedia Britannica. But it's a start, and you might write about every single thing that happened, and that's great, and it's also very cathartic because literally you are reliving all those moments in your life, so it's quite a healing experience as well. But then if you do decide you want to put it out there in the big wide world, you will only pick and choose some moments to actually put in a real book, but at the very least you've got it down on paper, and it's also, I think, a very precious thing to do for your family or those that are important to you, because let's face it, we've got a lot of stories inside that we haven't shared with everybody, and a lot of the time we haven't shared them with our family or our children, and it's a shame that those stories die with us. And I had personal experience with that with my father. I never got his war story, and I regret that I didn't. And so I don't want that for you. If you've got something that your family doesn't know about you, and it doesn't have to be something that they know while you're still alive, it could be something that is, put into your will and then they read it afterwards, but it helps them understand you. It helps them understand the journey you've been on. So don't let your story die with you, and at the very least, just write it for yourself, because it's important. It's important, it's my belief, that we shouldn't let our stories die with us, and they do become a future legacy. And let's face it, in these days of technology, we are losing our legacies, and that's a real shame. So don't let your story die with you. Just start. All you need to do is put aside 10 or 15 minutes a day, and just do it, say, Monday to Friday, or just do it 2 days on the weekend, and just make that time, put your backside in the chair and write or type out. I prefer to write, and then I, put it into the computer afterwards, and just start. And you'll be surprised how addictive it actually becomes. And before you know it, your book or your story will start growing, and then it's like, oh my God, I think I can actually do this. So all you need to do is start, and that's all you need to worry about right now. So I'm going to leave you now and check in again maybe next week. Otherwise it will be when I have arrived in Bali. I've still got a lot to do before I get there. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and let you know I'm still here. The book is still, in its process, and we're getting there. And yeah, I just want to help inspire you to write your story, because it is important and we need our stories. So I'll love and leave you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.